Welcome to another OU Insider Under the Visor Sooners YouTube Live, powered by Riverwind Casino. My name is Brandon Drum, Parker Thune, Spencer Forsythe on the board, and it is a huge weekend at Oklahoma. Number 8, Ole Miss coming to town versus number 13 or number 11, depending on what poll you look at. University of Oklahoma ranking there. It's a top 15 matchup either way you look at it, either way you slice it. Going to be a huge weekend in Norman. Weather hopefully holds up. Regardless, it's going to be a wee bit nipply out in the 60s. It's a little cold for us Southerners in the SEC Conference, Parker, but it is what it is. We're going to talk about the availability list that dropped today. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to talk recruiting. Big visit weekend coming down the pipe this weekend as Oklahoma hosts a lot of really good targets. And we'll have that list up for you on OU Insider VIP later this week as well. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk, obviously, I said injuries. We're going to talk about Mateer. We're going to talk about the matchup. A whole lot of good stuff going on here on this YouTube Live. But before we do all of that, Parker, let's thank our sponsors.
Yes, let's go ahead and do that. And that begins with our presenting sponsor, Riverwind Casino, which has been the OKC area's premier gaming destination for nearly 2 decades now. Almost 3,000 electronic games, table games, bars, and dining options, plus the best live music in the metro. It's no surprise that Riverwind is always a good time. Thanks also to Jana King for their sponsorship of the show. Jana King is the greatest team to ever clean and a proud partner of OU Athletics, in addition to OU Insider, delivering spotless results from stadiums to any size business across the country. Check out which of Jana King's solutions is best for you or your business by going to janaking.com. That's JANIKING.com. And finally, a word from Mando. Folks, if you have not yet become acquainted with Mando whole body deodorant, you need to. Fall's here. Football season, work, maybe even hunting trips. Let's be honest, staying fresh can be a challenge. That's why you need to hear about Mando Whole Body Deodorant. From your pits to, well, everywhere else, Mando High Performance Odor Control and Sweat Control actually lasts all day. Forget those colognes that just mask the stink. Mando blocks odor before it starts. It's one stick, 2 jobs. That's coverage through double overtime games, that weekend project, even those extra long pre-holiday shifts. You're good. It's not magic. It's science. Clinical strength sweat control. Deodorant re-engineered to stop odor before it starts. Premium ingredients, double protection, and you get the chance to try it all in Mando's starter pack, which is perfect for new customers. It comes with the solid stick deodorant, the cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash and the deodorant wipes, and free shipping as well. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers are going to get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. So use code INSIDER at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide and free shipping. Again, that's shopmando.com. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness with Mando.
All right. Man, I got to tell you, Parker, I am not surprised that Gentry is on. We talked about it on OU Insider VIP, Gentry Williams, and just his issues, right? It's not, I'll just make it clear to everybody, it's not the same shoulder. It's not the same shoulder. I think
Does that make you feel better or worse?
I don't know. Look, earlier this week, like the plan was for him to play. And he was just super sore from what I was told by multiple people. Just popped out, right? And you could see that it did it, how he landed. It just kind of, it was just unfortunate. Like, it doesn't matter who it was, like how he landed. It could have been you, could have been me. It could have been, God forbid, John Mateer. Shoulder was coming out the way that he landed, unfortunately, with how he put his hand down and his wrist and all that. Man, it sucks for him. But they're trying to let the ligaments tighten up a little bit. They're trying to let the soreness come down. He hasn't done a lot this week in practice. I think that's the one that everybody was kind of surprised because he could have came back in from what we were told on Saturday. I mean, he was running for his helmet and all that type of stuff. But look, at the end of the day, You got to be careful. This is a longevity thing, Parker, more than anything else. I think the biggest shock for everybody is Derek Simmons. And
Shouldn't be a shock if you're on
it isn't, but
OUinsider.com. I'll
no,
say
you're
that
right.
much.
You're right. If you're on OU Insider, you knew about it. But the biggest shock, and it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
And so, like, man, again, I text you the quote I was told. Like, just the physicality at practice sometimes. OU is a physical team. That's why they're so good on defense. But they're they got two healthy tackles right now,
Two of
Parker.
them. Michael Fasusi, Luke Paklenko. That's it.
Two.
That's it. You better hope those two tackles can get you through this game against Ole Miss, and then you better hope you get somebody back soon thereafter. Now, keep this in mind. Jacob Sexton returns after the bye, i.e., November 15th against Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
He can play the rest of the year for Oklahoma and
Keep his red
maintain
shirt.
his red shirt.
Correct.
So,
But he could have, I'll just say, like, there's been things that have hindered him from coming back. Just up to this point. I think people need to understand that, like, he's tried to come back earlier. And it's not that he's been injured, it's more like the staff and just things that have happened have just been like, no, like, they're not
yeah.
going to push the issue right now.
Well,
They're
and the
going to
point therein is more that there may be relief coming down the pike later on in the season in the form of a return from Sexton, and you may be able to have that guy back in the fold in 2026.
Correct. So there
The
was
hope is there.
yeah, there's a reason for his absence so far. And it's worked out for OU up to this point. Really has quite a bit. Real quickly, as always, Derek, if you want to get us to see your questions in the chat, we got nearly 300 people in the YouTube chat. I think we've got close to 600 or 700 in the YouTube in the Twitter right now. There's a lot of people watching, and before long, it gets up to where there's close to 2, 3, 4,000 people in here. So as we go, if you really want us to see your question, and we try to see as many as we can, the best way to do it is a super chat on the YouTube, because it pops up to the top, it gets highlighted, and it stays up there until we clear it out. You guys are talking amongst yourselves, and it's going, and we're trying to talk to each other and read your chat at the same time, and you know, do two things at once, and it's not easy. So the super chat helps us out quite a bit. It doesn't matter if you give 99 cents. It doesn't matter if you give 50, 60 bucks, whatever. We don't care. It just helps us highlight your question. And if you really want it, that's the best way to do it. So just make sure that we get that out there to everybody. And Daryl Revels is kicking this off. Appreciate the $5, man. Do you guys feel like Ole Miss team we faced last year is better than this version we'll see this Saturday? Ooh.
I yes, I think last year's team is better than the team Oklahoma
Yeah,
will
the
face.
quarterback last year is better.
Not by a substantial amount, but yes, I think they're better. What I think you took away from last year's game, though, down in Oxford, is that Lane Kiffin will identify your weaknesses and attack them. He is a good play caller. He is a good
Yes.
offensive architect. And what did you see last year in that game? Oklahoma led 14-12 at the half. They did not score again. And then that offense started clicking come the third quarter with Jackson Dart at the helm. And the reason it started clicking was because Oklahoma realized, okay, 26-4 are liabilities, i.e. Kenai Walker, Des Malone. We can throw at those guys, and we can throw across the middle to Caden Priestcorn because their linebackers are sketchy in coverage. So as long as we can accomplish those two things, we're going to have a lot of success offensively. And once they caught on to that, once Lane Kiffin got the chance to kind of scheme some things up to attack those weaknesses that were made apparent in Oklahoma's defensive scheme, then the Rebs got rolling and Oklahoma couldn't keep pace. So this is an Oklahoma defense in 2025 that doesn't have a conspicuous weakness.
Right.
Brandon. Like you have to just heads up beat this team, beat this defense. You have to find ways to um, compromise them. They're not going to like those ways aren't going to jump out at you on tape, and they're not going to jump out at you in the moment. There is no Kanai Walker this year. There is no Des Malone this year. And at every level, Oklahoma's playing outstanding defense right now. They have the number 3 rush defense in America. They have the number 4 pass defense in America. They have the
Hmm.
number 1 overall defense in America. So anything you get against this unit, odds are it's going to be tough to come by, and it's going to be yards gained the hard way.
Yeah. Look, I looked last year. They, I believe they had Princely Umamelian, obviously one of the defensive ends. Trying to think, what was the defensive tackle's name that was like amazing for them? Was that
Walter
Texas
Nolan.
A&M? Walter Nolan, yeah, Walter Nolan. Um, just defensively, from a defensive front perspective, yeah, that team was. I believe that team was far and away better, just far and away better. So that's the one thing. But as far as look, as long as Lane Kiffin's calling the plays, Parker, I will never say like maybe from a personnel standpoint, last year's team had a lot more talent, but I mean, Chambliss has he's done a hell of a job this year. And if he's not playing, Austin Simmons is playing. We know he's really good as well. So they got two really good quarterbacks. Sans one last year, right? Um, I just think that last year's team had a little bit more explosiveness as far as talent goes. They had what? They had the second or third most guys drafted from that team in the NFL, right? They're third, right? I think third most out of the SEC. And that's that says it all, Parker, to me, from a talent perspective. Now, granted, this team's a lot younger, and I was, we were talking to Ben Garrett on the Behind Enemy Lines, and if you want to watch that, it's on there right now. You go to our YouTube, the Behind Enemy Lines is on there. It's really good. He dove into everything from the job search with Lane to the matchups and all that. It was a great Behind Enemy Lines, seriously. But I'll tell you this, man. Like, I just I think running back. Is it weird for me to think they're better this year at running back?
Ole Miss?
Yeah,
No, that's not weird. They are better at running back. Keywan Lacey's really good.
he's amazing. I called him Kyron Lacey earlier today on accident, and Ben was like, "I've done that too. I've done that too. Don't feel so bad." No, I felt awful about it, by the way. But yeah, he goes, "I've done that too." Like they're so close. But yeah, Keywan is amazing. He is amazing. I think he's averaging 102 yards a game, 103 yards a game, something to that extent. He's really good. Like really, really, really good. Um, if you were going to say matchup wise, and we'll get to the super chat real quick, but if you're going to say matchup wise right now, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, like, where are you watching? Like, what position battle are you watching the most? Is it the obvious? I don't think it needs to be I think it's a secondary with Oklahoma for me versus their wide receiver unit.
Well, see, Oklahoma's strength, their very conspicuous strength, is up front on the defensive line. And so that's where it's going to start. That's like the defensive line, if they're getting after it down in the trenches and they're putting pressure on Trinidad Chambliss, that's going to make the secondary's collective life quite a bit easier, right? So to me, yes, the secondary has to play well, but they're given a little bit of grace and they're given a little bit more margin for error if the defensive line is making life difficult throughout the afternoon for Trinidad Chambliss and shortening the time available to him to make decisions with the football. And so I think it's as simple as this. Oklahoma's defensive line can go and win you a game on Saturday. If they
Yeah.
dominate the way that they have dominated for most of the 2025 season, it's going to be tough sledding for Ole Miss because Chambliss is not going to have a lot of time to work with back there. And they will be able to power down Keywan Lacey to some extent. Like he's going to get his. You're not going to completely shut him down, but it's going to be tough sledding in the run game as well. You would expect if this defensive line is up to snuff as they have been pretty much without exception to this point in the
Right.
year.
All right, get to a couple super chats if you
Yeah,
can,
let's
man.
do it. Josh Osterdock give us $5 and asked, chances Mateer comes back next year. I feel like it's a high possibility. Um, I I would say so far feel pretty good about where that's headed. Um, Before the Texas game, the odds were probably a little bit slimmer, but at this point, I don't know that John Mateer is getting quite the top end first round buzz like a Fernando Mendoza, for instance, that makes it surefire, makes it glaringly apparent he's going to be uh, a high level, like top tier candidate in the draft pool. And thus, yes, I think there's a very realistic chance he is back in 2026. The one thing that could wreak havoc on that is that when you look at the 2026 draft class as it is currently projected, it's a weak quarterback class. It
Mm-hmm.
is. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a great quarterback class. And right now in the NFL, there are a lot of teams with need at the quarterback position. And so quarterback may be one of those positions. And I have no doubt there will be agents in John Mateer's ear telling him this. Teams will overdraft the quarterback next April. And so
Yeah.
what John Mateer might be a second or third round pick most years, but in a draft class like this, he could be a first rounder, perhaps a high first rounder. And so if quarterback is one of those positions where you figure at season's end, okay, NFL front offices, they're going to overdraft at the quarterback position. Then that creates a new compulsion, I would say, on the part of John Mateer to actively consider whether it might be in his best interest to make the jump.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this that Oklahoma, just from talking to sources, and this even, goes back to the summer, Parker, and we've talked about it kind of between me and you that a couple sources literally looked me straight in the eye and said, you know, if he gets a second or third round grade, there's some NIL money stashed away to make sure he comes back. So take that as you will. Take that as you will. I'll just say that Oklahoma, like, if you were an Oklahoma fan or just OU in general, Brent Venables, Ben Arbuckle, best case scenario going on right now, he somehow gets dinged up as he did, right? And you don't want that to happen, right? But and he has an unfortunate game against Texas. You don't want that to happen. But you're still 6-1, Parker, through 7 games, right? Like that's a perfect scenario. And the fact that he kind of, you don't want to say he lost some of his luster because I don't think that's bad. Just because the injury I think has held him back. He's been a tough son of a gun playing through all this. But let's say he goes on and let's say Oklahoma goes 9-3, 10-2, right? They finish the season off. And because of what happened in the middle of this year, he still is viewed as a second or third round pick instead. And that's the grade he gets. If you're Oklahoma, knowing what you're probably returning for 2026, Parker, you're going, hell yeah, this is awesome. And making the chance for him to return that much greater. On the flip side, where does that leave you with depth in the quarterback room? Because now what happens with Hawkins, right?
Mhm.
I mean, there's a lot of questions there. You're going to get, like, what happens with Whit Neubauer, right? Does he decide to return? You would think he would. He kind of understands his role at this point. And then naturally, now I don't think it's that great, but it's greater. No matter how small the chance is, it's still better as long as he gets to keep that ability. Would you agree with that?
I would certainly agree with that.
So
Peyton Maddox with our next super chat. It's a $5 contribution. Peyton says, love both you guys, always a listener. Thank you, Peyton. Do you think this defensive staff stays together long term? Best defense since I've been alive, 2003. Well, Peyton, consider this. Right now, 4 of Oklahoma's 5 on field defensive assistants, well, I guess in technicality, they kind of have a 6th with Wes Goodwin, but 4 of Oklahoma's assistants are OGs of the Brent
Hmm.
Venables era. Miguel Chavis, Todd Bates, Brandon Hall, Jay Valai, those guys have been around since the beginning. The only position where you've seen turnover on Oklahoma's defensive staff is at the linebackers coach role. It's been Ted Roof, then it was Zach Alley, now it's Nate Dreiling. And so, yes, you've seen some turnover there, but even at that position, right, that's Brent Venables' position. And so Brent Venables has kind of been the steady hand on the tiller throughout, the one consistent factor throughout in the linebacker room. So there's even been a sense of continuity there. Oklahoma has an awesome recipe right now defensively. And rarely is this the case.
Hmm.
Rarely is this the case where, especially through 2, 6, and 7 seasons, you have an entire staff on one side of the ball, or virtually an entire staff, that stays together. And guys aren't going to take another job here, defensive coordinator gig over here. No, Oklahoma has made it a priority. The administration has made it a priority to make sure that this defensive staff stays together. You are seeing the results here in 2025. And if they do stay together long term, this is a program that can do some really special things on the defensive side of the ball and become the standard nationally on that
Yeah.
side of the ball. It will be easier said than done because when you have a defense this good, other schools are going to start eyeing your assistants. And so you're probably going to have to give some raises. You're going to have to dole out some raises this offseason. But yeah, Oklahoma can keep this together in the long run. And if they do, man, if they do, it's going to be a machine that feeds itself at a certain point.
Yeah, look, BV called it the best. Obviously the super chat called it the best defense that he's seen outside of 2003, right? BV called the staff the best defensive staff he's ever been a part of. And when you look down at that staff, there's a case to be made, not just because they're the top defense in college football, but there's a case to be made that they're the best staff, period, in college football. You've got Todd Bates, who has produced so many first round draft picks at defensive line, so many draft picks, period, at the defensive line. And he's got at least 4 or 5 more coming down the pipe. So you got that. You have Miguel Chavis, who's starting to kind of get his feet settled as a defensive end coach on the field, right? Like he was brand new to that back in 2022. He's now starting to get his guys to come through. He's going to have draft pick after draft pick, right? Like that's starting to take place. Brandon Hall has been one of the top young up and coming assistant coaches in college football for a long time. Every time there's a list that comes out, he's there as like guys that could be potential head coaches down the line. Jay Valai is an up and comer, right? Wes Goodwin was a really good DC at Clemson. The problem for him was he followed Brent Venables, Parker. That's the problem. He followed Brent Venables. But BV, look what all he said about him during the presser. Like the amazing stuff he said about Wes Goodwin. And then obviously Nate Dreiling is a fast up and comer in the works. Yeah, I think this staff will be around for another 2 or 3 years at least together. And that's amazing, Parker. To have that continuity, like you said, is just it's refreshing because you don't see a lot of that. You've seen it on the offensive side for Oklahoma outside of the offensive coordinator spot, but everything else has pretty much stayed the same. And obviously Kel Gundy, but everything else has stayed the same there. So this has been a really like the one thing you say about BV is like the staffs have been very kind of stable throughout his tenure. Wins and losses, maybe no, but staff, yes.
7 of his 10 original on field assistants are still around.
Yep, amazing.
$2 from the Green Arrow 82. Did Simmons get injured at practice? Yes, he did.
Yep,
Yesterday's practice. People were remarking, well, he was doing post practice interviews. That was Monday.
yep.
It was Monday. Got injured yesterday. Jesus saves. Hey, what's up, Martin? That's Martin Chase. Oh, you great, Martin Chase.
Yes, sir.
Brandon Parker. Is this Arbuckle and the running a part of our DNA from here on out?
I think
Well,
so.
it's going to have to be.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be. You need Torrey Blaylock and Xavier Robinson as that 1-2 punch on the ground because you're not winning in the SEC, at least not every week on a consistent basis, not on a sustainable basis, if you can't run the ball between the tackles with your backs. And Oklahoma did that
Right.
against South Carolina for the first time all year, it felt like.
Yeah, this is and you're going up against a team that's been susceptible to the run. this weekend. Now the sucky part is that you're going to be playing with just two offensive tackles, so you've got to somehow figure out a way to get the push and be aggressive in the run game, whilst also not getting your guys rolled up on Parker, which has been very, very hard for Oklahoma to do this year and last year. They are the one team, for some odd reason, when somebody gets rolled up on, they get injured every freaking time. Without, not every time, but more than other teams that we've seen, and maybe because we cover this team that we feel it's that way. But that's how I feel. Um, but I still think, like you said, Xavier Robinson, Torrey Blaylock, you got to get those guys going. You have to establish a run. You have to limit the amount of touches that Lane Kiffin in that offense is going to get, Parker. You have to, because they're going to get theirs eventually. He's too good of a coach. That offense is too good.
Tyler Claiborne tosses $20. Thank you, Tyler. Had this discussion with a buddy last week. What state is the most crucial to Oklahoma in terms of recruiting? I would say the state of Texas. I would say it's been the state of Texas. It will probably be the state of Texas always.
You really feel that way? Like not
I
even you
do.
don't, more than Oklahoma?
Yes, more than Oklahoma.
Okay, well, two categories. I think you have to get the best out of the best in the state of Oklahoma because historically, when OU was really, really good, they have a lot of players from the state of Oklahoma leading the way. That's historic. That's a historic. Like you can go through the rosters of the Natty teams, and even the teams 2008, and on back. Like those teams were loaded with Oklahoma. 2018, a lot of Oklahoma guys. 2017, a lot of Oklahoma guys. 2021, 20. There's just a lot of Oklahoma guys throughout, at least throughout those teams.
No doubt.
So to me, that's the most important is getting the best. But outside of that, I think you have to lock down DFW, which they call. You talk to people around the program, they call DFW the state of Oklahoma. That's an in-state guy because it's so close to Norman.
Yeah,
So
2.5 hours down the road.
yeah, so that I think everything south of Texas is really important too, though.
Yeah.
And when I say south of Texas, I'm talking about DFW, south of DFW. So you got to get everything within Oklahoma, which is DFW, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, what have you. And then you've got to go nitpick and grab some of the best that you can grab out of that. Because I think all those guys, Parker, they actually like the university and love the University of Oklahoma. And a lot of those guys probably grew up cheering for OU, even though they're in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's just how it goes.
Well, the state of Texas is just so rife with talent and again, so accessible. Being not much more than 2 hours south in the cases of some of these guys coming up through the high school ranks that, you're never going to be able, I think, to build a consistent winner without having a very strong representation from the state of Texas on your roster. I mean, you look at what Oklahoma has right now in 2025. Think of some of the most integral, most crucial players on this football team and their places, their spots in the Oklahoma calculus, if you will. John Mateer, Torrey Blaylock, Fabechi Wiwu, Kip Lewis, Eli Bowen, Cortland Guillory, Peyton Bowen. Who am I missing here? You get the gist. You get the
Yeah.
picture. The common denominator for all those guys and more is the state of Texas. Michael Fasusi. There you go. There's another big time guy. Ryan Foje as well that came from the state of Texas. So it's a state that is so well represented every single year on Oklahoma's roster, and it is pretty much invariably the case that a lot of your big time players on both sides of the ball are going to hail from the Lone Star State. That if you have a recipe and that recipe works, don't mess with it. And that's always been the constant over the year, more so than anything else for the University of Oklahoma, is they get some of the best, some of the absolute best from the state of Texas, and they turn those guys into elite players.
Yep. No, I think you're 100% correct. Where else are we at? Where are we at with the super chats?
Jacob Matthews.
Okay.
Jacob Matthews gave us $5 and said, "Does Blaylock / Robinson become our new Mixon / P. Ryan? I don't know how you don't just ride those two from now on." Yeah, you have to. And we talked about that in the post-game podcast immediately following Saturday's game. Just The reality that with the way Torrey Blaylock ran, the way Xavier Robinson ran, the way that Taylor Tatum and Jaden Ott appear to be complete non-factors right now, the way that the whole situation with Javante Barnes is unfolding. Yeah, it feels like it's Torrey Blaylock and it's Xavier Robinson, and that's your backfield. And that I think that's a good enough backfield to get Oklahoma where they want to go. Blaylock in particular is a stud, man. Like for him to be where he's at as a true freshman is remarkable, and it's been necessary for Oklahoma. Boy, has it been sorely needed. Just imagine where this backfield's at right now in the absence of Torrey Blaylock.
Mm-hmm. Not good.
Not
Not
a
good.
fun thought.
Nope. Not good at all because they were hurt early in the season. I mean, Xavier Robinson was hurt. Taylor Tatum, Jaden Knott just isn't Jaden Knott right now. So yeah, you're scrounging around for some help there, Parker. Cole Birdwell, I appreciate you, Cole, with $5. What position do y'all think OU will spend the most on one guy in the transfer portal after the season? Right tackle.
Think so?
You would think so. I mean, right? Because you're going to lose Derek Simmons. Um, now, let's say Sexton returns and you have Sexton at right tackle. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. However, if it's not right tackle, I would probably say defensive tackle.
Interesting.
Well, here's why. You're losing Dominic Williams. You're losing Grayson Holden, right? Yes, you have Marcus Strong coming back, David Stone, Jaden Jackson. Trent Wilson is going to be a guy, Trent Wilson's going to be a guy that is going to be a really good player for Oklahoma. And you've got a bunch of young guys coming in, but you don't want to have to rely on just four, four guys that you feel can play. You would probably rather have like five or six like you do this year, right? Like you feel like you can keep rotating in and keep them fresh. So um maybe you go grab a guy that is, one of the top defensive tackles. If not that, then what? Linebacker would be the other, but there's a good chance that Kip Lewis and Kobe McKenzie come back. So I don't know. Like what do you do at this
I
point?
will I will
It'd have to be
bet
right
you.
tackle to me.
Yeah, and I do think they're going to spend for a tackle. But I will bet you Oklahoma goes and gets one awesome receiver because I don't think they're going to take more than one in the portal. I think this will be a one portal receiver type of cycle for Oklahoma. They're going to take a heavy class out of the high school ranks. There's going to be a lot of turnover in that receiver room. There will be. And I'd bet you Oklahoma, if they're in the market at all, they're going to be swinging for the fences.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I couldn't tell you right now who that might be, but I'd be willing to bet Oklahoma goes and makes a big splash come the portal window in January and lands an elite receiver.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, you're losing Deion Burks. I guess you have to at this point, right? Like you're losing some of your
Yeah, I
top
mean, and you
guys.
got a bunch of younger guys that I think you're somewhat confident in, right? Like you believe, you have every reason to believe a guy like a Zion Kearney, a guy like an Elijah Thomas, for instance, guys like that are going to level their game up and be ready to jump into the starting lineup and make a huge impact. But if you have the money to spend, and the payroll to a certain extent has kind of been reset in that room. If you have the money to spend to go get one more guy that can really help solidify your level of confidence in that group, I think you do it. And so that would be something I'd watch out for. Is again, I don't think there's a scenario right now. We don't know necessarily what the attrition is going to look like in the portal come season's end, but I don't think there's a scenario where Oklahoma takes more than one portal receiver. But if they're taking one, I'll bet you they make it a good one.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right on that.
Big Mike Boganowski tossed us 10
Yeah,
bucks
I
and
read
said,
it.
shout out forward hat drum.
I'm doing it on purpose just so people, I wanted to see if somebody would comment on it. Yes. I got this hat in Chicago this past weekend at the vault, Tom Brady's card vault. Um, Figured I'd wear it forward just to see what if somebody would say something, and they did. Appreciate you, Big Bo.
Showtime 409, $2. Do you guys think our DBs will be exposed?
I mean, that's why I said I think that's the matchup I'm watching when I asked that question.
Well,
I,
and what do you mean when you say exposed? That's a very, a very nebulous
yeah,
term.
because they're giving up a big player too. I don't think is being exposed. I think that's bound to happen
Will Ole
against an
Miss have a
offense like
big
this.
player too? Almost assuredly.
Yeah,
Yes, they're a good enough offensive team. They will probably have a big player too.
yeah.
It's not going to
Georgia
be,
gave up how many yards and points to them? I mean, they gave up 38 points, but I mean,
and that's a
geez.
talented Georgia football team
Yeah,
too.
I mean,
Ole Miss is going to have a big player too, at minimum.
yeah.
They will. Um, the Green Arrow 82 tossed us another $5 and said, "When will they learn to not go so hard, or should they cool it down?" I'm assuming that's in reference to practice.
Yeah, man, I'm not going to say much on that. I'm just going to I BV's BV. There are I've talked to some people they wish they would go to the NFL model on this where they don't really hit quite hardly at all. They do a lot of shells during the week, and you can go hard and do shells and maybe wrap up and do all that type of stuff and still work on your practice. You can still practice tackling and stuff with the dummies and in individual drills, but team, you don't have to go crazy the way. But look, BV's a defensive guy. For him, I think in his mind, he feels like for his defense to be what it is, they've got to go that hard. And when they go good on good, sometimes things happen, unfortunately, because of that
It's a give
mentality.
and take, right?
Yep.
And I think there are plenty that would say, well, regardless of what kind of attrition Oklahoma is experiencing right now at offensive tackle, the way this defense is playing, I want them practicing exactly the same way they've practiced all year. And so, man, you change one thing or another, there's gonna be some give here, some take there, and that's just the nature of it. Rise and fall, ebb and flow. That's how it is. You gotta strike the right balance. Bert, $2 from Bert. Bert asks, what defensive players might be an All-American? Well, right now, the guys that are absolutely without question, zero doubt in that conversation are, I would say, R. Mason Thomas, Taylor Wine, David Stone, Jaden Jackson. Your entire offense, like an entire starting four on the defensive line, Brandon. That's how good Oklahoma is. And not only that, you have a second line of guys in PJ Adibawara, Marvin Jones Jr., Grayson Halton, and Dominic Williams that would be a dang good starting lineup for like 125 to 130 of the other 136 FBS football teams. Like
Yeah,
right
I
now,
mean,
Oklahoma's second team defensive line would probably be a top 10 defensive line in the nation.
yeah, I think I would probably say like defensive players. I think David Stone will be an All American at some point. I think Jaden Jackson, like you said, R. Mason Thomas. Yeah, Taylor Wine, I think, is a guy that everybody looks at, and everybody's kind of finally starting to come around with him being that dude, right? And just he's been just so good. Um, I think at some point Peyton Bowen's going to reach that marker. Maybe next year, but I think he'll reach that marker. And I guess offensively, what John Mateer, right? You feel like will be an All American at some point if he sticks around next year. Um, Fasusi has the talent to do it for sure. Foje, right? Um, Tory Blaylock. Yeah, those would be the
Are we
names.
talking long? I was thinking more like this season.
Oh, I was just thinking long term, but this year, yeah,
Long
David
term, they
Stone,
got a lot of guys.
David Stone, R. Mason Thomas, Taylor Wine. I would just say anybody on the defensive front, you could probably just kind of throw it out there, and nobody would sit there and say no to that if they're like the top two rotation at whatever position. You could probably make a case for everybody. Even PJ Adebayo, was he got like 3.5 sacks or something this year? I mean, like, or 2.5, something to that extent. Like, it's only halfway over. So I mean, you could probably make a case for him at the end of the year if he keeps it up to be in the conversation. But for the most part, you probably have 5 or 6 guys on the defensive line that you could sit there and say, yeah, All Americans.
We have a Kevin Malone super chat from Chad Smith, worth $2. Simmons injury serious? O-line short shirts practices. Why say lot word when few word do trick?
I mean,
His
no, I
injury has the potential to linger. That's perhaps the best way to put it. It has the potential to linger.
you remember how he was out for quite a bit during fall camp? Similar to that. There you go.
Next, say some shift. Gave us $2 and asked, can we go after Gross now?
You may not. No, I look. I mean,
If Oklahoma gets Jasir Rogers,
yeah, that's the thing.
they get Jasir Rogers, who's OVing this weekend, the former Penn State, well, I guess still
He's
technically,
still committed to Penn
technically a
State
Penn State
publicly.
commit.
Yeah.
Four-star wide receiver, Middletown, Delaware. If they get Jasir Rogers, it's probably the end of the line with David Gross.
Hey, can I explain this to people? Like, that was asked in the chat today. I have a VIP chat going on OU Insider VIP, and it was asked today, and it's still ongoing. I'll answer it for the next 3 days, but um, like it was asked and said exactly like that. But then they said if they don't go after it, it's going to come back to haunt Oklahoma essentially. And I'm like, I get why you guys think that. But Jasir Rogers on Rivals, and yeah, cumulatively he's a composite 3-star, but he's barely a composite 3-star. But he's a top 200 player on Rivals. He's the number 196 overall player in the country. So you're not getting somebody that is not good or on Gross's level. The thing is that a wide receiver, particularly a wide receiver, a position that if there's not a lot of discrepancy in the talent, Parker, you're going to take the dude that's not going to cost as much because you're not going to pay a lot to get similar success for the same amount of talent or similar talent. Maybe Gross is better, but unless he's CeeDee Lamb or a generational talent, you're not going to throw $500,000 at him, $600,000 and say, yeah, we're going to take you. That's just not how it works. You're going to take the dude that's probably going to be a little bit cheaper and get the exact same amount of production or close to that production. That's how that works at wide receiver. I think running back's similar, Parker, in that aspect. Those are the two positions you do that. Quarterback, offensive line, defensive line. No, you throw money out and get the best of the best. Wide receiver, running back? Nope. I mean, Torrey Blaylock, what was he ranked? I mean, no, he was top 300, top 250 kid, but he wasn't where Gross was at, right? And that's my point. Jay Knott was supposed to be amazing. They spent all that money, and they're getting it out of the freshman and the former 3-star in Xavier Robinson. Need I say more? So
One of
there you go.
Oklahoma's running back signees in 2024 has panned out. The other has not. And let me tell you, the one that has panned out is the one that everybody at the time, if you'd told them they could have one guy or the other, and only one guy or the other in the 2024 cycle, they would have all been willing to leave that guy behind
Yeah.
and kick him to the curb in favor of the other guy. But he's the one. He's the one that's playing good ball right now for Oklahoma.
Hey, real quickly before we finish the super chats, real quick, I gotta thank one of our sponsors, SeatGeek, real quickly. I know some of you all are looking forward to the tickets or looking for tickets this weekend for the Ole Miss game, top 15 matchup Why wouldn't you be? If not this game, I know some of y'all are looking what? Missouri, they're coming to town, LSU. There's a lot of people looking for tickets. That's why we want to give a huge shout out to one of our sponsors for this show, SeatGeek. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the number one rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. SeatGeek is also the official ticket marketplace of the Oklahoma Sooners, so all Sooners tickets on SeatGeek are authentic and secure. I love using SeatGeek. I use it, I say it every week. I used it for Shane Gillis. I used it for Dave Chappelle. Uh, I used it to go watch that championship team, that professional basketball team in Oklahoma City in the playoffs quite a bit as well. Uh, SeatGeek is not just a place to buy tickets, but it's also a place to check and make sure you're getting a good deal on your purchase. So if you're wondering if you're spending too much or being overpriced for your ticket, SeatGeek has your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale from 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. So look for the green dot, which green means good, red dot, red means bad. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. So after I tell you all those cool features that SeatGeek has, of course, we at OU Insider have a code for you guys. You can use code INSIDER10. Remember that, INSIDER10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with the promo INSIDER10. Make sure you click the link below on YouTube or the podcasting platform, whatever you're listening to us on. Click the link below in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek. All right, Parker, let's go.
Cole Birdwell, $5. Do y'all think they spend heavily for a defensive end with Arm Mason and Marvin Jones gone? I don't know that they really need to, because Taylor Wine is Taylor Wine. I mean, that's a building block for years to come right there. And then you add into the equation PJ Adibaware, Danny Okoye, Wyatt Gilmore. Do not forget about Wyatt Gilmore. And also, by the way, a very talented trio of incoming true freshmen and Jake Krell, Daniel Norman, and Matthew Nelson. Defensive end doesn't really feel like a position where Oklahoma needs to add a portal guy. And look, maybe they will want to. I don't know. We didn't feel like running back was a position where Oklahoma needed to add a portal guy in April, and Jim Nagy and the front office went out and they got Jaden Ott. And so
Yeah.
if you have the financial wherewithal to go snag a luxury edition, great. But that's what it has to be, is a luxury edition. That's what it would be for Oklahoma, is a luxury edition, because all of the requisite cogs are there moving forward in Taylor Wine, Danny Okoye, PJ, Wyatt Gilmore, and the true freshman crew coming in. CJ Nixon and Alex Shieldknight as well. Those guys will be looking to break into the rotation next year.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past Oklahoma to not spend, on a defense. I mean, they were loaded last year and still went and grabbed Marvin Jones Jr., right? So, I mean, like, if there's somebody out there like that, yeah, they might. I mean, look, they did the same with Cheetah with Kendall Daniels. Did they really need a Cheetah? Did they need to go grab Kendall Daniels? But he fit. If there's somebody out there that fits what, and Oklahoma feels, the staff feels in their heart of hearts that this dude is going to be just an amazing player for them, and Jim Nagy, gives that seal of approval as well, yeah, they'll go spin. But I don't think that's the top of their list. This guy, they have to see whoever gets in the portal, and then I think they'll probably eval. And if it's somebody they feel fits, yeah, they'll go spin. But I don't think that, as Parker said, that's not the top of their list. That's probably about fourth or fifth down on the list, maybe even further at this point.
Another $5 from Cole, who says, Parker, can you drop your balls live on YouTube for a player? Those days are over, Cole. Sorry to disappoint you. We're no longer on the old mothership. Can't do that anymore.
So you can't, I guess, is that mean he's talking about crystal balls?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think he's just saying like make a pick. Something to that extent. Cool. Hey, I'll drop him for you. Gabriel Osborne will be a Sooner soon.
Oh, you gonna put the RPM in? Do it. Do it right now. Do it right now. Do it right now.
I will actually.
Go to the player profile. Put the pick in.
You want me to do it right now?
Yes, right now.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
You are looking live, folks.
All right, I'll do it.
At an RPM prediction
It's
from
really not
Brandon.
that. I mean, like I live in Mustang, dude. This really isn't that big of a falsy fake. Yes, I'm
Hey,
not.
I mean, it's a national top 100 player any way you slice it, right?
That's very true. That is very true. Touche. Touche. Yeah. Let me go. I'm on there. Go ahead. Go to the next guy, and I'll tell you when I have it done.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that's our last super chat. I think we're. Oh no, wait, brand new
No, we
one
have more.
from Bert. Brand new one from Bert. We got a $5 super chat from Mark, but there was no message attached. So
Well, thank you, Mark.
we appreciate you, Mark. If you have a question, let us know. But Bert says, "How does OU decide which alums can be on the sideline?" I don't know. Don't have a clue.
I mean, yeah, I think they allow most alums on the sideline, to be honest with you.
Wes May said, "If you pay enough money, Bert, you can stand on the sideline like anything else in life."
Hey, I got a buddy that was literally on the sidelines. He's actually a member of our board. He is I'm not going to say his name out loud. He's a donor, a significant donor to the OU NIL foundation. He is a investor slash deal maker. I actually want to give a shout out, and I'm going to ask him if I can give a shout out for his podcast on our stuff because it's a really cool podcast, by the way. But and it's about deal making and investing. But
The art of the
yeah,
deal.
you know what? He says he's never read a Trump, The Art of the Deal. So that actually shocked me. I asked that literally the other day. Um, but yeah, he was on the sideline. He sent me a photo of him literally standing behind Jade Knott on the sideline in South Carolina. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, look, he's a significant donor. So yeah, that would do it.
Should put the pick in.
Um,
The pick in.
Man, I'm trying to figure out how the heck I can do this real quick. Here we go.
Oh no, folks. Technology is starting to pass drum by.
Well, I usually do it on my computer, so just keep going. I will tell you when I'm done. For the love of God, talk.
He is aging out of tech savviness, folks. You're witnessing it in real time. But no, we're completely
Nope,
caught
I
up.
got it. I'm putting it in right now.
Okay, there we
Suck
go.
it,
There we
Parker.
go. There we go. Look at that. That's
Yep.
that.
I just
How's
wasn't
that for
logged in.
how's that for a grand finale, folks? It is 9:30. We have answered every single super chat, and Brandon has a brand new RPM in for Gabriel Osborne, 4-star cornerback out of Mustang, America.
Yes, sir. So there you go. It is in. Yep. I got him going to Oklahoma. So there
Ooh,
you go.
one more super
Um,
chat. CJ Anderson, $5. What is the likelihood of Howland playing? Love the show. Thanks, guys. Not likely. Not likely this
hmm,
weekend.
bummer.
He's coming back from a high ankle sprain. It's going to be Michael Fasusi and Luke Baklenko at the tackles Saturday. That's what it will be.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So what happened? I want to know what the hell happens if one of those two go down. I'm knocking on wood. I hope that doesn't happen. I'm just saying. Like, what do they do, Parker? Where do they go?
Well, you remember the Texas game when they told Daniel Akinkunmi, get ready to learn left tackle, buddy? That's what it's going to be for somebody.
Would it
Whether it's
be
Akinkunmi
Foj?
or like who I'll be very curious. I'll be very curious to see who's repping as the backup right tackle in warmups before the game on Saturday. That'll be fascinating because we know Akinkunmi is like the emergency left tackle. We don't know who the emergency right tackle is. I would think it's probably Foj. I don't
Yeah,
know.
potentially. Yeah, I would think so. I would think it'd be Foj. I think it's Foj. It's got to be Foj, right?
If
It's
it's,
got to
I mean,
be.
if not him, then who? There's nobody else that really jumps out at you. Oh yeah, that guy could go play right tackle.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's so Foj. Then what? Maybe Daniel Akinkumi, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Was there a time that maybe OU was repping Heath Ozida at right tackle? course, you have to kind of completely throw your whole formula out the window if you're going to move him from left guard to right tackle. So basically, you're crossing your fingers hoping Luke Buklenko stays healthy.
Yeah, that's scary. That's scary. I just wonder how the physicality that they need from the offensive line, man. They had that thing going with Simmons, and this is where you need Sexton back in a bad way. Bad way. But whatever. All right. Thank you guys for watching this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor Sooners YouTube and Twitter Live. Sorry for those that were watching on Twitter and it went down. I apologize. You can come back over here to Twitter and kind of piece it together if you want, or to YouTube, excuse me, to YouTube and piece it together where you think you missed. I think you missed probably 30 minutes, unfortunately. But we got it back going, but it was a little late in the process, unfortunately, but it is what it is. But those that are not subscribed to our YouTube, subscribe to our Twitter. You can go to Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at OU Insider. You can go to our Instagram at OU Insider Official, Facebook at OU Insider Official. All of that right there. You can subscribe, like, thumbs up, whatever. YouTube, go to OU Insider YouTube. You can go and subscribe. Please subscribe. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up. Podcasting platform all you have to do is type in Under the Visor podcast. We pop up with Parker and I's little cartoon logo. Give us a like, subscribe. Give us 5 stars on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to us on. We thank you for watching us and being big supporters of OU Insider, no matter what it is. If you really, really want to support us, though, go to ouinsider.com. You click that little green button. It sends you to a new page. You can sign up right now for $1 the first week. It's an amazing deal. Plus, you get the Athletic complimentary from OU Insider and On3 for a whole year if you sign up. That's a 2-for-1 deal. It's a great deal. Literally costs you a little more than a Starbucks coffee for a whole month. And you get a 2-for-1 deal out of it as well. If you're a college student from wherever and you have a .edu, I don't care if you go to Timbuktu University, I don't care if you go to Oklahoma State, Texas, whatever. We've actually had those people hit us up and they're big OU fans. So that's kind of crazy, but they're college students. You have a .edu, email us ouinsider@rivals.com. We will send you a email back with a promo code to make sure you get OU Insider for $1 a month for 3 months. It's a great deal. Teachers, same thing. Molding the minds of the students. Well, if you want to get a little relaxation, a little bit away, send us an email to ouinsider@rivals.com from your teacher's account, proving you are a teacher, and we will send you a promo code, just like we will the college students, to get get OU Insider for 3 months for $1 a month. And then obviously active duty. We thank our active duty military. I'm a vet, active retired vet actually, and Parker's wife is active duty. We love our military. So we try to help those guys out all day, every day. Email us ouinsider@rivals.com from your, active duty email. We will send you a promo code just like the others. Make sure you get OU Insider $1 a month for 3 months. All right, that's going to do it for this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live, powered by Riverwind Casino. For Parker Thune, for Spencer Forsythe, my name is Brandon Drum. Peace.